I'm Jacob Grenz.
And I'm Winnie Stone.
And this is
Come On In, Queens. Who are you?
I loved when you asked me that last time. I am the owner of, I don't like the term dog dad, so I'm going to use the owner.
Please don't,
yeah, dog dad I think takes away from people who have actual children. But they are my little babies, and they are rescue pit bulls. One's name is Eggs, which is a long story, and the other one's name is Finley. Who are you? I just shouted that.
I'm a former drag queen who turns out is just a woman.
Can you tell us the drag queen name?
Specificity Jones.
Okay, look that up. Are there videos up?
They're there if you look for them.
There's content out there on Specificity Jones. Yeah. I've not seen this content. I'm interested.
Well, she still lives on an Instagram handle. So
you have an Instagram handle. The lore with Specificity is just growing in front of me. Because you were a drag queen before I ever met you, and you had stopped by the time I had met you. Why did you stop?
It's too much work.
It's too much work.
And I'm also not into nightlife anymore. So it's really hard to be a drag queen and also not want to be out past 10.
Yes, I do know you. You're home by 10, like me.
Yeah. So last Saturday, we attended Flip Phone Events Presents Parvati Shallow Drag Show.
Drag brunch. Yeah, it was fantastic.
It's fun. Down at Macy's, downtown, at like 11 a.m. It was great.
Yeah, loved it.
Yeah.
And that concludes our segment.
That's it. Yeah. I mean, love Leslie Stool. We go way back. Back when I used to be a drag queen. And she used to work at Berlin.
Oh,
R.I.P.
Wow, I didn't know you knew her.
Yeah. And we went and saw the Traders one she put together with Janelle and Bergie.
Yes.
That was really fun. That was at night. So this was a little different flavor. We sat right next to where Parv was. She had a blast.
Yeah, she did have a blast.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a good show.
So my story with that is I've actually been working with Parvati for a few years. Let's rewind back to 2020. We were going into the pandemic lockdown. Winners at War was on. And I was at a time in my life where I was sort of looking for what the next thing was. I felt very stuck. I had been sober for, I think, 7 years. I'll be sober 12 years in June. So I was sober about 7 years. Thank you.
Congrats.
And I was like, what is next in my life? And I didn't have many people in my life that I felt like I wanted to emulate what they were doing with theirs. Mm-hmm. And she put out this course online. I was like, why not work with somebody I have idolized throughout her survivor journey to see what I want to do next in my life? I feel like she lives very fearlessly. So I took the course, and then I did group coaching and one-on-one coaching with her for 3 years.
Dang.
And after that, we have become friends. So she invited me over to where she was staying. And even though it's coming up on 5 years of knowing her, even though I know her, when she came around the corner, I still get starstruck a little bit. I do. She came around the corner and her eyes were done, she doesn't usually wear makeup, a lot of makeup. And her eyes were done.
Especially when we're seeing her out on islands and shit. Yeah.
And her eyes were so blue. I was like,
I've never wanted to be a drag queen again more than at these reality TV brunches, drag show things. Because I'm like, oh my God, I'd have so many ideas. Alas.
Wish you were a drag queen at this one, because I feel like you would have done the banana etiquette speech.
Obviously.
Right. I mean, that was what I thought was missing.
Thing together. That is one thing I would say about Specificity. I mean, I always say she's just cryogenically frozen. She will come back for the right amount of money. But it was always a production. There was a beginning, a middle, and an end. I wanted to tell a story, and I mean, stuff like that, the shows like that, are primed for it. Especially at the Walnut Room and down at Macy's. It's so big and vast, and there's a lot of columns and stuff that literally every time a queen came out, they did 3 or 4 songs as they walked around.
Yes.
3 times each. So.
And they were all great. However, my favorite was your uncle, who is a drag king, who did Jeff Probst and Boston Rob, and twerked with Parvati on stage.
Uh-huh.
Do you want to tell your story about Australia Survivor? How did you find it? What are you...
Sure. How did I find it? You know, I don't remember. I wasn't at the first offshoot. I mean, Survivor itself is an offshoot of a Swedish show.
Correct.
Correct.
I mean, I'm going to say that and we'll fact check it later. But I think you're right.
Expedition Robinson.
Yes.
Okay, Expedition Robinson, but in Swedish. We just determined that last time.
Yeah, and then Australia, I believe, was the first franchise of Survivor. And so I think around that time I was like, oh, I just gotta check it out.
Yeah.
And it was like super long, and it was like a little weirdly formatted. I don't remember. It's not the same as it is now, I believe. So I don't know, I pirated it on like LimeWire or something.
Wait, it's the opposite.
But it was kind of a slog, but it was really great characters, and I really appreciated the winner. So
Yes.
it's a bad story.
No, it's not a bad story. It's a great story. It is 24 episodes, right? How much is U.S. Survivor? 12?
14?
12 to 14.
13?
Yes, but like, I mean, the show's growing up. I can do a 24 episode arc. Like some of my favorite shows like Buffy and Charmed and not Interview with the Vampire, Vampire Diaries.
Uh-huh.
Those 3 shows that I just said say a lot about me.
WB girly.
Those are 24 episodes, but I mean, I did find it intimidating to watch Australian Survivor, and it is 24 episodes and also 24 people, but they managed to do it really well.
Yeah.
I love the challenges in Survivor Australia. I think we've lost a little bit of that fun and the physicality and the endurance challenges in the US Survivor.
Yes, and I will say, watching the most recent seasons recently, there's a lot of the same challenges that are being done across like all of the franchises. However, it's in editing, it's in the style of play. Like, it just is more dynamic and more fun to watch on Australian Survivor.
Yes.
I said it.
I said it too. I think it's more dramatic. Even the preview for Australia versus the World is so dramatic. It's like starts with kings and queens. Mm-hmm. And I think they go much more into the backstories of the characters. And they have time to do that, obviously. They have more time. But yeah, the challenges, we don't do the same beats of like crawl up something, crawl under something, puzzle. Like, it's very simple at times, which I think is intriguing. Like, it's push somebody off of this, disc in the middle of the water or something.
Well, you have a little more wiggle room when you're regularly doing reward challenge, immunity challenge, which I feel like the US barely does anymore.
Right. And I think that the simplicity, I think that there is something about the simplicity of the challenges. We don't need all of these built out challenges. There was a challenge when I was watching where they had their feet. There's a pair. They do this challenge a lot in Australian Survivor. I don't know what, like stuff like that. And then I decided against it. Where they have to hold their feet together against something, and it's an endurance, like a pair endurance. That's really cool. And
love that.
What did that cost? Like $10 to do that challenge.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't need much to make it exciting.
Yeah. And then you have been watching because I've not watched any of the other franchises that we're going to talk about today. I have no information, but you are watching...
New Zealand, South Africa.
You've watched South Africa as well.
Yes.
So
I actually really like South Africa. I love the South African accent.
We have a global Survivor expert right over here.
Expert. That is exactly what I would use, the word I would use to describe myself. Expert.
Well, because I know the Australian players. We've watched about 4 seasons now. I had the opportunity to watch Survivor Australia during the pandemic, but I just bought a PlayStation 5, so I didn't have time for that. But Jeremy and I came back, and we've watched 4 of the most important seasons of Survivor. So we've seen most of these players except for Sarah and someone else.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get into it.
Let's start with the Australian tribe, right?
Yes.
How about
Australia
David?
versus the world?
Australia versus the world. We're going to do it in order.
Okay. So David was obviously spoilers across all the seasons.
Yeah. I mean, we have to say it. But
period on this podcast. If you're putting this podcast on, you're getting spoilers. Sorry.
Yeah. Show is going to spoil. everything.
I can't be like monitoring what I say.
Right.
I don't do it in real life. I'm not going to do it now.
You're not going to do it now. You don't need to.
So David just played and won Deal or No Deal Island.
This is correct. And it was 9 million Australian dollars. I didn't know that. 5 million US dollars.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Right.
And Parvati was on that.
Yes.
And they filmed that before they did Australia versus the World. So
Correct.
David's coming in as a fresh winner and with obviously people he's played with in past Australian seasons and fresh off of a very successful alliance with Parvati on Deal or No Deal Island.
Dundee.
Dundee.
Whenever I
say
hear
like that,
Dundee, I think of that Fergie song, the London Bridge song. Lundy, Lundy, Lundy. I don't know why. Dundee. Anyway. So, yeah, no, you're absolutely right. He is coming in with all these people in relationships. He's played with, I think, everyone on the Australian tribe.
That would make sense.
We'll fact check that. I don't know if that's correct.
That's not true.
Okay. And as you said, he is going to have this secret alliance. And what's more is people aren't going to know that he won Dundee because it just happened.
And unless she's backed against the wall and like has to, I don't think Parv's going to say a word. Because she knows that it will benefit her if they can like eventually work together.
Yes.
Right? You agree?
I agree. I think that there's no reason for her not to work with him, especially it's secret from everyone. I mean, she maybe has told Cirie about this. We don't know though. So I think it would behoove them both to have that relationship.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I love the word behoove. Don't think I've used it very much until today.
No, I love that because they had a successful alliance and they didn't turn on each other.
They never
went
turned
out
on
because
each
she
other.
lost the deal thing or whatever.
Now let me ask you, do you think if we got to a final 2 or 3, they would turn each other? Well, no, if we got to a final 4, do you think they would turn on each other? Do they want to sit next to each other at the end of this game?
They better not. I mean, they better not want to sit next to each other. That would be the opposite of their intelligence level. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like they also would know they don't want to sit next to each other. But even if they did, though, they both would be confident that they could talk their game above the other one, I believe.
Yeah, I hear you. I think that with Parvati, more so, she will go to the end because in Micronesia, she's going to the end with Cirie, thinking that she may lose to Cirie, but she's going with Cirie and Amanda. I don't know about David, though. I can't get a read on if he would want to take her to the end.
I guess we'll see.
We'll see. And we're getting way ahead of ourselves anyways. Like we have them at the final 3 already. But the thing that I remember about David, because the first season we watched was Champions versus Contenders 2, an amazing season. It has 4 of the players from Australia on it. And what I remember about him is he started off very cocky in this game. And
that was your first time seeing him? Was his returning season?
That was his first season.
Oh, Champions versus Contenders. I thought. Yeah.
That was his first season. However, that was our first season that we watched.
Yeah. No, I hated him.
I hated him.
Smarmy, slimy.
And hot, though, so it kind of made up for it. To a certain degree.
I have a note.
You have a note?
I have a comment.
Oh, I thought you meant a note for me to improve. I'm like, wait, we're not doing that right now.
I have a note, Jacob. Yeah. No.
I'm like, I got this touchscreen monitor. You can't make fun of me for reading anymore.
I remember when you guys... We had this conversation when you were watching that. You're like, but he's hot. And I was like, no, he's not. Like, he looks like a little rat fink, you know?
A rat fink.
And I was thinking about that this morning, that now I'm like, oh, yeah, no, he's totally dreamy. His personality was so, like, ugh, that first season that I just wrote him off and, like, was like, no, thanks. But as I started to like the way he was playing and thinking he was funny and he just like got less douchey, I think. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, okay, yeah. Like, I can tell someone's conventionally attractive without thinking like they are like hot. And that's how I felt about him. I was like, ugh.
I'll agree with you on that one. I can find somebody very hot and then find them completely unattractive based on their personality or attitude. Yeah. Good example of that is current season What's his nuts with the 4 nipples?
David.
Yeah, I mean, on paper he's hot, but then his attitude just killed it for me. And I'm like,
enough is enough, Jacob.
Enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
The strong people keep on getting ganged up on. Oh. So the other thing about David, I think, that was interesting, and I've read in interviews outside of the game, is that he actually came in wanting, we talked about this last time, coming in playing like it's your second time, your first time. He came in knowing that he wanted to create this character, the Golden God. Because I was talking to Jeremy, and it was like, all of them come in with nicknames, but how does David come in here? Do the producers feed him this Golden God thing or what? He came up with that, and he had based that character on who else other than Parvati and Boston Rob. He based his character around that. So I think it was a little bit of him putting that character on for television. And that's the douchey nature of it. And then as he expanded further, he became more of himself. He famously had that fake idol swap. He had made a fake idol. There was a champion's idol and there was a contender's idol on opposite beaches. And I think Janine finds the one idol and they're supposed to be able to swap it across. He makes a fake idol and swaps it with hottie Sean on the other side so that Sean ends up with a fake idol and David ends up with the real idol.
Yes.
I love that moment because it doesn't happen in US Survivor because people aren't allowed to interact. And I wonder what kind of cool things would come out of like people being able to actually talk to each other during the challenges.
Right. Now that you're bringing that up, it is very like special to Australian Survivor where I'm sure that they obviously like people interact and talk and stuff at before and after challenges or whatever in US. But on Australia, they like feature it. It's like part of the game.
It's part of the game. I don't know, though, with US, because even in this recent season, when that whole thing with Eva and Joe, they had to let Joe come over. Yeah. Because there's such a separation. Anyway, I do think it leads to good gameplay. It's interesting. There's a lot of idol swapping. Yeah. Shonee, who we'll talk about later, did that same thing.
Because what do we say? What's our motto? Let the players play.
Let the players play. There was a new motto to me, but we are going to be our motto from go forward is let the players play.
Let the players play.
Oh, and that's another thing that I love about Australian Survivor is Jonathan actually does that.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Jeff.
We love... Oh, that Jeff. Oh, that Jeff.
Oh, that Jeff.
We love us some JLP, for sure.
Yeah. He kind of disappears at points, which is actually a good thing about him.
Wonderful. Yeah. Yes.
Should we move on?
Well, I just want to say about David that I cannot decide whether he's going to absolutely slay. He's got all these connections, and people just like him. They like to be around him. They feel like if he likes them, they feel safe. They feel taken care of. So I think on one hand, he is going to be the Golden God, but then on the other hand, they got to get him out immediately. Like, he needs to be first or second boot.
I agree.
Point blank, period. Right. And I do think that would be... I love him now. Like, I actually really quite enjoy him. But I think he's quite like a screen hog. And,
we don't want any screen hog.
But if we want other people to shine, like, get him out.
He does. Yeah, he sucks up a lot of the air in the room and a lot of the screen time. So let's move on to George. I'm not even going to attempt his last name. But George, King George.
Yes.
Let's talk about him. I was actually not... We watched Australian Outback, which I don't know which season that was, and that was the first time we saw George.
Okay.
I wasn't that impressed with him, but when I went back to watch the recaps of Heroes versus Villains, very impressed with George.
Okay. I had not seen any of his seasons.
Yeah.
And so literally just in preparation for this episode, I watched some like compilations. Same. And was like, oh my God, who is this? I never heard of him.
Right.
And then come to find out after like halfway through this like research that he's a gay.
Wait, is
Come on
he?
in, Queens.
Is that a fact? Or
I believe so. Because there's a point where Shawnee's like, they got rid of my girls, like, they can't take my gay away from me. Like, we have to work together. I think.
I mean, let's just speculate for now because I had that in my notes.
I'm pretty sure he's a gay.
I was like, he's very queer-coded if he's not gay.
Yeah.
But yeah, the alliance that he was in with Shonee was called the Spice Girls Alliance, so that was cute.
Talk about a character, though. He is a character.
The first thing that I thought was hilarious was that he went through having a tattoo of the Muni idol on his chest, which I was like, that is very, like, committing to the character.
Yeah, very. There's...
You have a look of disgust on your face right now. What are you going to say?
No, it's not disgust. There's a moment where they're talking about what would God do? What would God? They're clearly like making fun of something.
Right, they're making
and
fun.
he goes, I don't think God likes Paige.
Yes. I am in a group of people who talk about Survivor, and I was like obviously rooting for Sandra, or not. I was obviously rooting for Parvati or Cirie to win, and they were like, no, this is either King George or Shonee's season to win. And I was like, agree to disagree. But I don't want him to win, but I do want him to go far now that I've seen
he's
his
so
game.
entertaining.
He's so entertaining.
Yeah.
The dramatics, the theatrics of it, it's wonderful.
Well, speaking of Come On In Queens, In versus the World, this is a concept that maybe Drag Race didn't invent, but Drag Race did first.
I was thinking that too. Did Drag Race invent this? Because I haven't seen it in other shows.
The Challenge may have done it first.
Right. Yeah.
But maybe not. Maybe the Challenge did it after.
I wish we would do more of this. Yes, I love
I mean,
the
I think it's the way, since as a culture we want everything repeated. We want this IP works. Let's run it into the ground. Let's open franchises all over the world. So I think this is like a new form that's going to take place on all sorts of shows. Because it's another way to crank out another season with already casted people that we know the public likes and whatever.
In a way to introduce us to players that we haven't seen, because I haven't actually seen George, and I loved watching him.
Absolutely, and I want to go back and watch his other stuff. But in that vein, it took a while after the launch of this for people to start winning that aren't in the home country. So if we're going to go by that, someone from Australia will probably win.
So I feel like the Australian players have a little bit of an uphill battle. You said that they probably have the advantage, which is probably to your home team advantage, but they also know each other. They have those relationships. They played together. They know each other's games. So it might be a little bit harder for the threats to sort of like disappear into the game. Whereas on the global side, we're pretty sure that Cirie, Parv, Tony have not know anything about the global players, and vice versa. We don't know that the global players have actually watched US season. So they might have a little bit of an edge simply because they don't know each other's games.
And isn't it true that there are more winners on the world side than there is on the Australian side?
On the world side, I believe there are 4 winners. Yes. And on the Australian side, David's the only winner.
No shit.
Another check con for David to get voted out immediately. Moving on to an absolute queen.
Moving
Shonee.
on to an absolute queen.
Moving on to an absolute queen. Moving on to Shonee.
Okay, talk to me about Shonee.
So Shonee, we actually watched her in All Stars because that's one of the Australian seasons we've watched. We fell in love with her immediately, and I say we, technical director Jeremy, because she is very chill. She doesn't get paranoid. She seems like she's having fun every time she plays, which is something that is not, I mean, such a stressful game. Like, she's having fun, yet she's strategic. She puts people at ease. Her social game is on point. She's finding idols. But I think what I love about her most is that she stays goofy. She stays funny. She's popping out the jokes. She's saying funny sound bites.
Do you know what she does for a living?
Couldn't tell you.
Okay, sorry.
Are you ready for it?
Are you ready
Her
for what?
occupation is?
Yeah, what is it?
Yeah.
She is a pro skater's wife.
She was on Parvati's podcast, Nice Girls Don't Win, and she had a story about how she was supposed to be on the Traders Australia, and she found out she was pregnant like 2 days before she was supposed to go, and so she had to drop out of the Traders. But she is like making the reality TV circuit, and I would love to see her on US Traders.
Nice.
And David. Why don't they bring David onto the US Traders?
I mean, I think they will.
Yeah.
I think all of this is going to start folding into each other, layering on, melding together.
What a time to be alive.
What
For people who love reality competition, it is really a time to be alive because we're seeing like all these icons come back. How do you think she'll do in the game, Shonee?
I think she's a real contender. I think she is going to make fast friends with the world side. People who don't know her personally are going to be like, oh my God, she's great. Because she's just that kind of person.
Yeah, I agree. And like my point of reference is always US players. And I think of her as the Cirie now that I've seen like all of the seasons that she's on, because she's kind of the best player to never win.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fun.
Great. Shonee. That's Shonee. Woo.
Woo. Woo. Woo.
It's either we're low energy this time or we were manic last time.
I think probably the latter.
I think we were manic last time.
Yeah.
So let's go on to Kirby. I don't know much about Kirby, but you love Kirby.
First of all, there's like not a lot of, I don't think any of the women had like a best of this woman's gameplay like on the internet, which is a shame.
I know. Well, that could be because of ChatGPT, because I was wanting help in the preparation.
I did my own.
Oh, you did your own research and you still didn't find anything.
Yeah, no.
Well, ChatGPT sent back, so one of the contestants, Eve, I think is her name, instead of getting a highlights reel of Eve from Quebec Survivor, it sent a stirring tale of a woman named Eve surviving the Holocaust.
Yes!
And I was like, well, okay.
It's even worse than that, Jacob. They were replacing Eve with Lisa. Lisa wasn't on the list. Eve was, who was on Lisa's season.
Yes.
So it was her name, but the video it spat out wasn't even about the Eve that isn't even playing this game. It was about a Holocaust survivor. To refresh myself on Kirby, I pulled up some videos, like her intro, like from her in the beginning of the season, whatever. Yeah, I love her. And I was thinking about it this morning. I think I might be in love with her.
Oh, yes. I
like,
love that.
she's just so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's like an ex-footballer, current football coach. And I had to look it up. Like, it's like Australian Football League. It's like, it's more like American football than it is soccer.
Right. When you're there, she was calling it footy, and I have no idea what that could mean. Could be 5 different
I found myself
sports.
reading an article about what the difference is, and I was like, what am I fucking doing? I just needed a cursory look at what it meant to be a footballer.
Let's stop researching all the sports. Like, we don't need to know.
But I didn't know any of that when I first watched that season, and I was just so enamored with her. She's
enamored in
chill.
love.
I didn't think that at the time. Now I think that might be the case.
I love it.
She's super chill, super laid back, but like wants to play the game, and like was making like really unnecessary moves in the beginning just for like entertainment value, which, hello, as a viewer, we love.
Yes.
And it ended up working out for her because she was in the game for quite a while. And there's like, she has a way about her where she could just kind of like sit back, observe, crack a few jokes to who's ever next to her, which that's how I make friends. You know, it's like, we're here because we're like, She had like a rivalry with Ferris.
Yeah.
And their back and forth was just so pure and like great. Like they just talked about it like openly, like we're coming after each other. Yeah. It's us against us. Like this is what's happening. I don't know. I love her. And I think I want to marry her.
Oh, yeah.
Finding love on Come On In, Queens. Anyway, she's great. They were smart to bring her back.
Yeah, smart, and also kind of an unknown entity within these Australia Survivor players, because they're probably not going to know her very well.
Yeah, she's only played one season, and she was that kind of character that when I would I wouldn't watch for a week or so, and then I would be like, oh, that's right, I was watching Australia Survivor. I need to like pick that back up. She'd be the only one I thought about. I wouldn't remember any of the other cast. I'd just be like, oh, I gotta go watch Kirby.
you get up and the couch is wet. I mean, funny story and true story. I got up today and it looked like somebody had had their period on the couch, and it was eggs. She didn't have her period, but she was bleeding out of her butt. She has butt issues, that girl.
Oh, we love eggs.
All right, so let's move on to Luke. Why
that?
I don't know. He's just not my favorite. He's that archetype that's the bro dude that's just not my cup of tea in these games. I'm not a big fan of Luke. But going back and looking at the research and watching his seasons, I'm even less of a fan of Luke. That's all.
Yeah.
And he's could be a little bit problematic as far as what I was seeing.
That's what I saw too.
Yeah.
Luke's funny. He's cute. He's a dude bro. He's problematic. I think he's best set up to make it far. He's played with, I think, everyone on that team.
Yeah.
Right?
He's played with Janine and David, for sure. And Shonee. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know if he's played with Shonee, actually.
I would just assume since she's on
all the seasons. Like, isn't she on, like, 4 seasons? She's doing well in Australian Survivor.
Yeah. I want them to get him out immediately.
I do, too.
I think that he's got staying power, unfortunately.
I agree with you. We'll see. Maybe he'll link up with Janine. Maybe he'll link up with David again. That was a pretty good alliance until it wasn't in Champions versus Contenders.
Yeah.
But I, myself, am not rooting for Luke. That's all.
Yeah. He does have that very, like, comfortable vibe of, like, one of my brother's friends. You know what I mean? Like, he's just sort of, like, familiar and, like, of the earth, salt of the earth.
He's of the earth, aren't we all?
Sometimes that comes out in problematic ways, but in other ways,
Yeah.
it's just, he's very relatable, I guess, to a lot of the general public, I would say.
Oh, let's talk about Janine. I love Janine. She was one of my favorites on Champions versus Contenders. Turns out she's the CEO of Boost Juice, which I had to look up because this is not a
Which is
thing
like
in the United
Australian
States.
Jamba, right? Like,
It isn't. That's the first thing I thought. It's so
not?
funny. No, I was like, oh my God, it must be like Jamba Juice. I want one right now. It's like an actual healthy juice, whereas Jamba Juice is like the shake that you went and got after you went to the tanning bed.
Yeah.
After I went to the tanning bed and did a double dip in the tanning bed, then I went to Jamba Juice in high school. But this is actually like bottled juice that's healthy.
Okay, like cold pressed.
Yeah. I mean, I think. But she's a like celebrity in Australia.
Yeah, and because she was like on like Shark Tank or something, right?
Was she? Yeah.
Something.
She could
Like
be.
she's like that sort of a figurehead.
Yes.
Of like that's like the level of fame. People know that she's like this rich business person that's worthy of going on Shark Tank and having a lot of money to. I don't know anything about sharks.
I don't know anything about sharks or Shark Tank, but I will say the dog is chewing a toy like he is a shark.
How did he get that in there?
I don't know. It's fine. This is what happens.
This is what happened.
I think that it's interesting that she said she would never come back, but now here she is. She
said that she would never come back?
She did interviews and said she would never come back to Survivor. So.
Well, she certainly doesn't need to, but she didn't need to go on in the first place.
No, she didn't. But it's going to be interesting. Her nickname, and they love nicknames in Australian Survivor for both the players and the alliances. Her nickname was the Godmother, which I thought was great.
Yeah. What's your opinion on people who come to play the game that are already super successful, super rich? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, we get some of those in U.S.
Yeah.
Survivor. Like we had Jimmy Johnson, who was a
we
coach.
always get like a sort of stunt cast like that.
Yeah, we had.
Haven't in a while.
Right, Mike White was on David versus Goliath. We have it every once in a while, but I think it sets him up as a target immediately because people don't want to give the money. However, Australian Survivor, as far as I know, is not as big of a prize pot. It's like $500,000.
Not even that. I think we're probably on the same page with this, that we don't care about the sob stories and like well, that too. But like if you play the best game and you happen to be a multimillionaire, you still deserve to win if you win. Correct?
100% agree with you. I don't care about that. And in fact, I don't think it should even be brought up. You remember season 46 where Kinsey got the question of how you're going to use the movie or the money? Mm-hmm. That was infuriating to me. It's like, it's none of your business how she's going to use this money.
And it shouldn't factor into it whatsoever. Like,
but also her answer was pretty fucking great. She was like, I'm going to use it for me. I give everything. And this money is going to be for me because I don't want to be cutting children's bangs at like 57. I love that answer.
Yeah. Yeah, I really shouldn't. I'm over it in Drag Race. I'm over it in Survivor. Like, we don't need any more makeup mirror confessions. You know? And now it's kind of a dead giveaway. It's like, oh, we're hearing your backstory. You're getting voted out tonight. You're gonna sashay away tonight because we have to learn your sob story before you go.
That is a detail of when we know somebody's gonna get like Star. This last episode, her story like went. That's also though that U.S. editing is kind of fucked up right now, I think. You talked about edgic last time. Can you explain that for context? Edgic?
Edgic is the edit, using logic to decipher the edit.
And who's going to win.
And how it plays out to the end. More screen time, more confessionals, favorable screen time as opposed to the dodo music.
Yes. The dodo music is classic, like they're going to have a fall from grace.
Yes. How often are other players talking about their game?
Yeah.
Whose game is getting explained? Whose game you don't know what their game is? Like they're probably going to go if you're not hearing anything about that.
Are we seeing it from their perspective or the other player's perspective?
Did they say anything in the first episode? Because chances are they're not going to stick around if you literally did not hear from them in the first episode.
Unless you're Erica.
Unless you're poor Erica.
You win.
Yeah.
I do think it's interesting, the edgic, because that's a Survivor-specific term, but I do think it applies. I use it and look for it in all shows that we watch now. I'm like, how are they editing this person?
It's another form of saying metagaming.
Yeah.
You're looking at the overall picture of it, and I think that there has been negative things brought on by this in U.S. Survivor because they like to go, oh, people are saying this, well, let's do the opposite. Whether it's going to be good or not, they want to be secret about it.
Yes.
And so they buried Erica in the edit and Heather, and then we come to find out later that
Who's Heather?
Exactly. Exactly. Heather played with Erica the whole time. She was like the older lady, like blonde hair.
I can't place her.
And because she literally got purpled that season. And you come to find out that, like, she was absolutely playing the game. They were totally running the show. But because we didn't get that shown in the edit, because, heaven forbid, we can guess from the edit who's going to win or who's going to be a finalist, that then they ended up getting fucked for it. And that's stupid.
I agree.
And I hate that.
I know. I think that, like you said, they are trying to do a gotcha to the audience. And they don't need to do that, but the gotchas are ending up taking a lot of the good parts out that make us care about these players.
Yes.
And also taking a lot of their strategy out. Like when we watch Australian Survivor, they come down to about 2 to 3 people that you know are going to go home.
Yes.
And they show all of the strategy.
Yes.
And what that does is it makes me like these characters more. I'm more invested. I'm not invested in the characters of 48, I'll tell you that.
I mean, I haven't been super invested in a lot of the characters
In New Era?
in New Era because of that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, yes, it's exciting for like maybe the 2 seconds after you get the gotcha, but I would rather see all the strategy and even knowing who's definitely going to get voted out. That just means that puts the onus on you, the producers and editors, to make the strategy stuff really good and intense so that we don't care that we already know who's going to go.
That's exactly right.
Instead, hiding the strategy so that we can be surprised who gets voted out is fucking stupid.
And makes me care a lot less. Okay, let's go to the next person, although they are not on my slide presentation. Who is the last player of Australian Survivor? Sarah
Tilecki.
Here, let me look. She's not on this one either. Sarah Tilecki, yeah. So she was on Australian Survivor 2017. She's an unknown entity for me, to be honest with you.
You didn't look her up or anything?
I did look her up, and I did research. You're like, you didn't prepare?
No, that was the fear in my eyes because I didn't. So I was are we gonna know nothing about her?
Well, I know that she's a model. I know that
she's gorgeous.
She's fucking gorgeous. I know that she played on she was on with Luke, originally Luke's first season. And I know that she convinced David, who is also a model, to go on to Australian Survivor. She's a recruit. We love a recruit. So I think
I saw like a cursory thing, somebody saying that like she's like a perfect example of like a recruit that does well.
Yeah.
Because how was she recruited? Do you know?
No. I think that just overall Survivor Australia does a better job at recruiting people because they don't care about having the super fans, and we are not a huge fan of the super fans. Now, are these Latisse eyelashes right now?
No.
You haven't gotten Latisse yet.
I just got it filled yesterday and did my first swipe last night.
Okay, so you did a swipe of Latisse, and your eye color may darken right before our eyes.
And I did a lot of research because I was like, you know what? Upon further thinking on that, I don't know that I'm... Because, like, it's not like I can choose. Like, I want, like, just like a rich brown like yours, not like a poopy, weird gray brown. So I'm like, maybe I don't want that to happen. But basically it was like, don't be a fucking idiot and jam it into your eye and like let it dry on your lid. And like, I'm like, okay, I'm a pretty careful person, so I think I'll be okay.
I think that people trust people with blue eyes more than they trust people with brown eyes, or is it the opposite?
It's the opposite, because you can see pupils dilate and people with light eyes, so they're harder to trust when they're brown. You can't see the pupils dilate. You just assume, oh, you're just like being truthful. There's nothing happening here. As where if somebody's lying to you with blue eyes and you're like, I see some shifty stuff going on in there.
You know, growing up, I thought it was a plague that I had brown eyes because my family all had blue, green, like pretty eyes. My sister had a blue eye and a green eye. Yeah.
Wait, so you thought it was a plague?
Well, I just never liked my brown eyes. I was like, ugh, I'm the only one in the family that has brown eyes. So I tried color contacts and I looked crazy.
Oh, please find me a picture.
All right, should we get into the world tribe?
Yeah.
All right. Let's start with our favorite, Parvati Shallow.
Miss Parvati Shallow. What's her middle name?
I don't know her middle name.
Parvati Veronica Shallow.
Parvati Veronica Shallow. I love it. PVS.
I actually was just thinking something off topic, on topic, when we were at her brunch last weekend, that I have always, since a small little baby, been drawn to, even though I am a blonde inside, Specificity was a blonde.
Yes.
Winnie is blonde. But I always... everyone loved the blonde girl. And I was like, I like this sassy little dark-haired one over here.
Me too.
Like, I loved the Veronica, Betty and Veronica. I love, like...
Yes.
And so she has managed to somehow inspire me yet again because I really don't want to fuck my hair up by dyeing it anymore. And so when I grow it out and it takes this long to like get all beautiful and long, I'm going to be a brunette, light, So I'm like, Parv rocks it. Parv loves it. And so she's inspired.
You had an interaction in the bathroom with her.
She reminded me too. I mean, I watched other people try to take pictures with her in the bathroom.
Okay. But didn't she say something about your tits?
She did not.
Okay.
She said that she liked my boots.
Oh, your boots? I thought you said boobs. I was like, oh, great. She's co-signing your boobs.
If I would have asked her, I bet she would have liked my boobs.
She would have. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it about the brunette? I love brunettes as well. Shania Twain, brunette.
Yes.
She's my favorite pop star. And
but my soul is blonde.
But your soul is blonde. Mine too. Yeah.
So let's guess her middle name.
Parvati.
Trish.
Aloysius.
Aloysius. No. I'm gonna go. Is it like a classic name, Rebecca?
So you have the right first letter.
Alicia.
Parvati.
Allison.
Parvati Allison Swift. Parvati Amy Swift.
Is
Parvati A? It's an A. Parvati
Andrea.
Amelia. Okay, what is it?
Anne.
No wonder we don't know it. She doesn't like advertise Anne as her middle name. Let's talk about what we think she'll do and how she'll navigate in this game.
My brain is telling me that she's went around the sun and is now come back around to being not the huge threat you need to get out right away. Like, I think people will be like, well, this bitch always gets to the end. We can like work together, cut her later, but like maybe there won't be like a dog pile this time. Maybe. I hope so, because obviously I like watching her on my screen, so I want her to stick around. And I think she has a huge leg up knowing David and them already having the alliance prior. So I think she should go far. I hope she goes far. I hope people aren't butthurt.
I think so too. And we don't know that the world players know who she is. And that is going to work in her favor.
I'm sorry.
The international player. We're so US centric that we're assuming that people from South Africa have watched all of the US seasons.
if they may not have watched all the US seasons, but they've watched Parvati seasons, famously the best seasons in existence. Jacob, you are crazy if you think not every single person on this cast knows every time she's played this game.
All right. Maybe it's wishful thinking.
I mean, we'll see.
If not...
But I just think that is an insane thing to think.
And if these players are smart, well, first, she's going to come in and, like, scatter her pixie dust on all of them and charm them right away. But the other thing is that if you then know who she is and who she is to Survivor, you are going to want to work with her. One, because you're going to get more screen time.
And we know they're all fucking whores.
And two, why wouldn't you want to work with somebody you know is one of the biggest stars in Survivor? At least to a point. That's the way I feel about it. If I'm coming into the game, I'm going to work with somebody I know is going to be getting a lot of screen time and set myself up.
Yeah. Well, and she's made it to... The only reason she went out when she did on Winners at War is because the tribe swap, she got stuck with, like, a pre-game alliance. You know? If that wouldn't have happened, she probably would have made it much, much farther.
I think I cried that day. When Parvati and Sandra go out in the same episode, it was like, that's the end of this fucking show. Yeah. Like, I can't watch it
anymore.
Burn it down. And we have to watch Cops Are Us. One of the things she does have going for her as well is she just came off of Dondi. We said that she has a relationship with David. That won't come into play right away because they're on opposite tribes. However, she's warmed up for this game. I think the one thing with Winners at War, she had just had a baby. I think 4 months, 6 months.
Yeah, it was not that long.
It was very
after.
recent. So she just wasn't she didn't have her head in the game as much as she usually did. Like, as we've talked about, she was reading The Art of War before. She was, like, feeding a baby.
But recently she's been saying, like, I guess I didn't realize that my career was going to be reality competition, but here I am. As where before she was, like, very much like, this is my life, and then sometimes I go on. Now she's like, no, this is what I'm going to do.
This is what I'm going to do.
And so I feel like that's even more head in the game.
My one worry is Mr. Tony. I'm worried that he's going to come for her. That's my one worry.
I mean, they're all stupid if they don't get him out immediately.
I think so too. Yeah.
Like, because unlike, like, yes, Sandra's 2-time winner, but everyone kind of knows, like, her game gets the gist of it. Tony defies odds left and right. So it is like, you don't think that don't think he's going to be a good shield. Don't, just get him out.
Get him out.
Make him go.
I agree. I think Tony should be the first one to go. We'll talk a little bit more about him.
Yeah.
I will say that for the drag brunch meet and greet, she was wearing this exact same outfit, the Viore pants and the Australia versus the World buff. So hot.
Really?
Yeah.
I love those pants. I think this is the best she's ever looked, outfit wise, you know, like that initial, like, walking onto the beach, like, look. I love it. Pleated pant.
Okay, next is Cirie Fields.
Cirie, Mom.
Oh, we talked about her last episode. We love her. I really hope she does well. And I think that going into this, she absolutely is going to team up with Parvati. They're friends.
They should. It would be stupid not to.
And what good television. They haven't been on the same tribe since Micronesia.
Really? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, when did they... Who went out first? Well, obviously Cirie, but did Cirie leave before they connected on, like, emerged in Heroes versus Villains?
Heroes, she was on the Heroes tribe, Cirie, and then she left early in Heroes versus Villains.
So they never
worked together. So
cool.
This is the first time they're going to be on a beach. That's
exciting.
Cirie's outfit in this.
I didn't see it. I mean, I didn't register it.
Yeah. But I think that this is probably going to be a setup for Cirie going out in the most crazy way possible.
She has to. She has to keep her legacy alive.
She has to keep her legacy of going out in odd fucking ways. We're definitely pulling for Cirie. Parvati and Cirie. End game.
Team
we want them to
Sarvati.
win. Sarvati.
Parvati.
That almost sounds like cervix. Sarvati.
Team Cervix.
Team Cervix. All right, so next on the U.S. tribe next on the global tribe is Tony Flachos.
I almost did a llama noise, and I don't think I did.
Oh, that's one of my favorite moments when he does the llama to cast, though. That is one of my favorites.
Listen, here's the thing. There are many reasons to dislike Tony.
Yes.
Just as a human living in the world. As a viewer watching the game, he's super entertaining.
He is entertaining.
Very dynamic gameplay because he's all over the place. Constantly you're like, well, this isn't going to work. Like, they're going to find this out. They're going to call him out on it. And they don't. And then he passes through and clearly wins.
Yes.
In saying that, I want him gone. Get him out.
Get him out. I love that you were like, in saying that, remove him from this game.
Yeah.
I agree. He is one of the people that makes it work to play the overt threat from the very beginning, much like Parvati and Rob, although Rob doesn't go very far. Like, Tony is a target from the beginning. I don't know how he goes so far. And is a 2-time winner, but I think in this case, we are not rooting for Tony. No. He could really fuck up our girls' game.
Yeah. No, yeah, definitely not. People think that he's just going to continue to be crazy, and so why would you get him out? Because people are always... It's the age-old tale of, like, everybody hates him, so they're going to want to get him out, and then he ends up coasting because every week they're like, well, he's the easiest target, so let's go to this other thing while we can. And then before you know it, he's winning for a third time.
Not on our watch.
Not on our watch.
I do appreciate his win in Winners at War. As far as, like, who was left, I forgot that he was doing some blindsides at the end there. And, I mean, you have to give him respect, as you said, because he is a 2-time winner. But besides that...
No, he played a really good game.
He did.
But I wanted Michelle to win.
You wanted Michelle to win. I could have gone with Michelle or Natalie to win. Either way.
Yeah.
Do you respect the Edge of Extinction win? Coming back and winning. I mean, Chris Underwood's the only one that's done it.
No.
End of story. Oh, the other thing in Winners at War that was crazy, and I'm glad they didn't continue, as the fire tokens. I forget when I watched those.
We thought that was going to be like the new thing they were going to start. And I think Jeff did too.
God, Jeff did, and you know why it isn't?
Why?
He had a conversation with Mike White of White Lotus fame and said, what do you think of the fire tokens? And he was like, does it seem fun? And Jeff was like, no. So he took them out, and they weren't fun. One of the
Thanks, Mike.
The things that I saw on Tony was the extortion advantage, where you had to, like, find 6 fire tokens to give them to whoever was on Edge of Extinction. It was so convoluted.
I don't even remember that.
Moving on, Rob Bentel from Australia, South Africa.
Yes.
Before we start...
From Australia, South Africa?
Let's start again. We're getting
No,
fun
keep
thing.
that. From Survivor South Africa, yes.
From Survivor South Africa, Rob Bentel. Before we start on any of that, I just want to shout out male Speedos in all of these international versions.
Yes, we love it. We love to see it.
We love it. And it's like, in the US, I know that we are so closeted and people are fucking shaving their eyelashes off not to look feminine in the United States. Like, where are we living? But Speedos are such a gay thing in the United States. Like, if we go to Hollywood Beach, which is a gay beach near us, in board shorts, I feel like I'm wearing a full burqa.
Oh, 100%. Mm-hmm. Covered head to toe.
But in these international seasons, they're wearing Speedos. And I think it looks great. Why shouldn't men be able to feel sexy, straight men?
Well, and just, like, you know, ease of movement. And
Ease of movement.
The reason that I'm sure Speedos were invented in the first place, which is just to ease of movement, swim easier.
Yeah, and the functionality of it is to swim easier. So we need to campaign for Speedos.
Yeah.
Although I'm not sure I want to see anyone in them.
Didn't he have like an animal print Speedo? Oh, right. Yes.
Yeah, he is a drink of water.
He is dreamy.
He's dreamy.
Okay, so
light eyes.
I initially watched, I believe, the season before it of South Africa. I really, really liked it. And then when I got some friends into Survivor, I wanted them to watch the South Africa season, so then we watched his season.
Yeah.
And I vividly recall us being disappointed that he won.
You were.
Because
he's a man.
He's a man. And he and this girl, Nicole, it's Nicole to us, but there it's Nicole.
Nicole.
They call her Nicole.
Okay.
We would say that a lot. we liked her. We wanted her to win. But together, they were kind of like Ken and Barbie. And that's kind of like not that thrilling to watch someone like just sort of... I think he won like 5 individual immunities.
Yes.
Like, he very like steamrolled.
I saw that.
In the beginning, Rob's whole thing was, I'm just going to tend to the fire and I'll just be like the fire maker and then they'll never vote me out.
Yeah.
That was his strategy. And it was like, I feel like he kind of got like the ditz at it. Like, it was... I was under the impression that he was not going to make it because it was like, okay, dude, like they're going to fucking keep you around because you make fire. They literally did. And it
literally kept
a lot of that was a big reason of them being like, well, but like, who's going to tend the fire if we kick out Rob?
So it was pure laziness. Like, but we need the fire. So I agree. I think that, like, for example, Aussie's journey in Cook Islands, where he goes on an immunity sprint at the end and he's the provider, and I am not a fan of that archetype. If it was a woman doing it, like winning all the immunities, I probably would think differently, but it's not a very exciting arc at the end to have somebody winning 6 immunities and making it to the final tribal just because of that.
I think he's going to disappear in this particular group of personalities. I think he's going to sort of fade into the background.
Soft-spoken.
I think it's a small cast. It's a short time. I didn't know until this morning that it's only 16 days.
Yeah.
That's nuts to me. And so I think he's like an easy early boot, especially because no one knows him. No one's played with him. So that means he could either be a number that people want to use.
Yeah.
Or they're just like, whatever, he's just easy. Let's get him out.
Yeah, they're going to need a number. It's 3 against 4 right now, US to world contestants. So Parv's got to do some magic on him or somebody.
I'm
the
not
women,
worried.
though. The other women, forget it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And get Tony out and then him. How about that?
How about that? How about that?
And then now we have Eve Clark.
Which is not real.
Which is actually not real. Not even on the cast. And then also I got a Holocaust survivor, Eve Clark clip. So I have nothing on the next player, who is
Lisa Holmes.
Yes.
So there's only been 2 seasons of Survivor New Zealand. It doesn't like exist anymore. It's like it got canceled or whatever. So this last season is technically like the final season. And
it got canceled.
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, who knows? Okay, Lisa played on Survivor New Zealand this latest season, which I think may be the last one ever. And I just watched it this week. I watched start to finish, marathoned it all week, didn't watch anything else. Because I actually gave up halfway through just because of time. And I was like, I'll just like go and watch things. There's like nothing online.
Right.
So I was like, fuck, I like have to, if I want to have an opinion, I have to actually watch. And I did, and I'm glad I did. It was very interesting because it was a 3-4 vote at the end. She won by 1 vote.
Wow.
And so it was the final 3, right? Her, straight guy, and this other girl who was like beloved. This other girl didn't know Survivor, didn't watch it, not since she was like a kid. And so she barely knew the game and was more than willing at the final tribal to be like, I played a pure game. I didn't lie to anybody,
God, this story.
which we hate.
Right.
And many people, and players included, don't respect.
They don't.
But in her case, she actually was telling the truth in terms of like, she could say, I kept my word with all of you. I didn't backstab any of you. She was kind of like always on the outs towards the end, but just like managed to keep, like, she kind of did like an immunity run at the end. And she was the one to get the other 3 votes because the straight guy knew someone. There was another guy on the show that they knew each other from high school.
Oh,
so
I
they
read
had
that.
like a built-in alliance. And they didn't know this
And
like
it was
until they were on
exposed,
the island. It wasn't until the final tribal he finds out that the other guy in jury was like boop 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 telling everybody.
Oh no! In their version of Ponderosa.
So he pretended like he was gonna, like he was like, oh, I was just about to say that. I don't think he had any intention of telling them because he thought his friend was gonna keep the secret for him. But like when the jury started grilling them, they were like, so we know that you had this relationship. Tell us like what. how you played outside of that wasn't like a huge leg up on everybody else.
Yeah.
Anyway, he got 0 votes. Lisa played this confidently quiet game. She was clearly like very intelligent. Everyone liked her. She was super nice. But she played the game. All of her talking heads were like, well, yeah, I like him, but I'm going to chop his head off. Like, she was very shrewd. I love to use this term. I think it's almost like a archetype unto itself on Survivor now. Her game was she was very like calculated. And I made this note that she was warmly detached. Like, she
disassociated.
People really liked her, and she was very caring, and she was
detached, yes.
Has a very like a motherly essence about her, but she did not attach emotion to the game. Like, she was just like, no, I love this person, but like, they're gonna beat me if we sit at the end together, so gotta go. So yes, a very respectable game. Definitely a game that I appreciate.
I love that you did your field research.
I really did.
I love that.
And
I didn't even have the right person on my roster.
In summation, I like her.
In conclusion,
I think she has a really good shot because I think that
yeah,
on paper she's a really easy early boot because people don't know her, like whatever. But she is a huge fan. She won.
Oh, she's a fan.
She wore an RHAP t-shirt to the finale, to the live finale.
Yes, I did hear that.
And won the final 25 whatever. I think she will use that knowledge to her advantage, and I think that because she has such a quiet game, that she can make it far.
Good.
And I hope she does. I like her.
You've sold me. I want her to go far too as well.
Yeah.
Far too as well. I want her to go far. All right, so the last 2 players on the global side, we know nothing about.
We know nothing, absolutely nothing about.
We know Tommy, it played in South Africa.
Oh, Tommy's on South Africa?
Wait, let's get this right.
Yeah, let's make sure that's correct.
Tommy didn't get put on my list. Now we know to check ChatGPT. Okay, Tommy was on Survivor Finland.
Yes. Okay.
So the last 2 players on the global side, we have Tommy, who was on Survivor Finland, which Survivor Finland, I believe, is the original Survivor.
Is it?
Sure.
Sure. Yes, it is. No.
Okay, so we're wrong. But
isn't Finland and Sweden the same thing?
Don't get me started on this one. No, I mean, honestly, I am not good at facts when it comes to geography and history. I think because I hated my history teacher. He was a gym coach.
I spent all of geography trying to make my teacher's life hell. Me and my best friend hated her, so we just tortured her. Didn't learn anything about
geography. We have
geography.
a lot more in common as we're coming. We like brunettes and hated history teachers. We don't know much about him. I mean, we're excited somewhat to get to see his game, and we'll have to make some judgments then. Yeah. I was just telling you when I heard people doing cast assessments on the traders, and nobody knew Gabby Wendy. And look at what a big star she became.
Yeah, huge star.
Listen to her podcast every week. We have to trust casting on this. We have great examples of people like Kelly Wentworth, who went out very early on Blood versus Water, who comes back and is a huge star. Yeah. I don't know why that applies here, but it's just they know what they're doing.
Yes. Clearly they've got some game to play. And I'm not going to lie, until yesterday, I kept seeing George come up on the list and being like, whoever that is. Yeah. I would have heard about him if he was anything. And then I was like, oh my God, he's one of my favorite games in this whole cast.
I'm glad that we had that same reaction, because I was too. We haven't confirmed whether he's gay or not. I think he's married because I think his wife came to the family visit. but no. He's a little ambiguous.
No, I think... I think that was his bestie friend.
It's okay. He's gay to us. He's an honorary gay.
Everyone's gay until proven straight.
Yes, exactly.
You heard it here first. Mm-hmm.
So on the world side, what are we thinking?
World side?
Yeah, on the world side.
Par 4 winner. What do you mean?
Par 4 win.
I think they have it harder because they don't know each other. Not any of them know all of each other. Mm-hmm. Most, if not all, of Australia is going to know each other. And you were saying this earlier that, like, potentially that's going to work against them or work for them. I think it might work against them.
Yeah.
But I think on the World Tribe, they get to form brand new relationships. Yeah. And they aren't going to be informed by past games because they probably don't know their past games. So I have high hopes for a very exciting game across the board.
I agree. I think it's a wide open playing field with the world side, given the fact that they don't know each other. And I think, that's all I have to say. Oh, babies. Are we still recording? Hi, babies. These are the doggies we were talking about earlier, and they're actually on our logo.
Yeah.
It's so cute. Winnie did that, and Finn looks like the special boy he is.
Yes. Okay.
All right. Yeah. So give me a prediction.
Winner prediction?
Winner prediction.
Or winner hope? Okay. I think
what you want, and then what you actually think would happen.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not even going to pretend to say what I think will happen. What I want to happen is Parv win all the way, so she can finally take the true title of Queen of Survivor. Or Kirby. Love Kirby.
Yeah.
Love Kirby. Call me.
You are so wet for Kirby.
I think I am.
Yes, I am going for Cirie and Parvati all the way. I do hope that they link up and do a Black Widow Brigade 2 and just wipe out all the men.
Yeah. What are all the ladies on the world side?
Cassandra, Lisa.
Yeah, never mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what I think is possible is that on the Australia side, Janine and Shonee form an alliance and just really run the game, and then meet up with Cirie and Parvati, and those four just take it to the end.
Janine, Shonee, Kirby, Parvati, Cirie.
Yes.
That would be amazing.
Amazing.
And that
Final
would
five.
be Black Widow Brigade V2.
Part 2. Yeah. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you for listening. I'm workshopping some outros.
Okay.
Building upon the last week's.
And you said take your flint last week.
Uh-huh.
What would you like to say this week?
Give me your flint, bitch.
Give me your flint, bitch. She's added comma bitch.
Bye.
Goodbye.